You must establish boundaries when the actions of aggressive or negative people threaten to deplete your energy or damage your life. The Book of Boundaries by Melissa Urban will teach you what boundaries are, when and where you might need to set and enforce them, and you will discover that boundaries are in fact valuable tools for living your life. Being firm with yourself and your relationships is being compassionate. It's easy to think of boundaries as something to use in difficult or dangerous situations, but the truth is that boundaries simply limit what we're willing to accept from others. Setting boundaries is difficult, it might be unpleasant, nevertheless, it is preferable to completely avoiding particular locations, subjects, or people. It's time to start expressing yourself clearly. It can be tough telling other people you prefer to do things alone, or take a moment for yourself, especially when their actions are not at all negative on the surface. So instead of being straightforward, we become upset and perceive a once pleasant pastime as a cause of dread. You should establish certain boundaries in light of this. Boundaries are essential for maintaining energy and self-esteem. Consider it being kind to yourself. Many self-help books will advise you not to put all of your efforts towards appeasing other people. Even in situations that seem innocent, this is true. For instance, you could desire to walk alone in the mornings, but someone constantly joins you. Always maintain a positive frame and make it about your needs. Tell them you have a desire to be alone and it's a necessary part of the activity. If the other person chooses to see your polite explanation of your feelings as a personal attack, that is their issue to solve. This is a fairly harmless episode, but the same applies for more direct assaults on your personal boundaries. Melissa Urban uses a threat level system to help you judge if your safety or mental health is in danger. When a situation first arises, such as a mention is made of a tough topic, or a person or place appears or is brought up, this is a green level threat. In these cases it is reasonable to dodge, but carefully and firmly, choosing responses which can't be doubted or misunderstood is better. Yellow threats represent a more unpredictable situation. For example, if alcohol becomes involved, or a belligerent stranger, or a green level threat just won't go away. At this point you should continue maintaining your boundary, don't get defensive and start justifying it. Start to take account of more permanent outs, and make your preparations to either counteract the problem by involving other people or getting away. A red level threat is a direct challenge to your excuse or your choices or feelings. In this case, if you wish to adhere to clear boundaries and avoid conflict, it is best to use direct language. Be clear you aren't going to change on the issue, declare consequences, or in some other way definitively put the threat down. Practice makes perfect here. It can feel weird coming out of your shell for the first time, but it will become easier each time. Working from home is far more prevalent than it once was. Therefore, it is important to maintain separation between business and personal life for your mental health and to protect yourself from being taken advantage of. But how do you start saying no, particularly to your boss? You can start by combining your threat level with a pre-scripted response. So if a job is dumped on you once, it's a green alert. You agree, but state that other things will be delayed as priorities shift. For yellow, begin pushing back and use the excuse of other tasks. And for red level threats, be proactive and reach out to explain that you have reached a limit. You can offer to make it a negotiation, but be clear that it is a two-way street and not only a benefit for them. Make a record to back up your feelings. Of course, you may receive pushback, but at the same time, you may be the catalyst for a positive change more broadly. Putting your needs on paper ensures everyone is on the same page. For handling family or relationship issues, use a number system to get you and your partner or relative on the same page. Think on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does it bother me? Then ask your companion, how important is it to you from 1 to 10 that this happens? If you rate the situation higher, then you are likely losing out more than the other person is benefiting. This should fit within a broader discussion between you and your partner, of course. Every circumstance is unique and a compromise might be needed. But as long as you're honest and you know that setting the limit is more important than any power play, the magic number is a great way to start a conversation. Say what you mean and trust your partner to do the same. Typically, the root of the problem is that you didn't say what you meant. So what can you do to prevent this? When discussing difficult situations, speak clearly and kindly and hold them to the same standard. Communication must flow both ways. If one partner is doing something which makes the other feel unappreciated or used, then it is crucial to get both sides and both perspectives. Without this, the only options are let things get worse or use ultimatums and arguments. Meanwhile, a perfectly good compromise or alteration likely exists. By establishing clear boundaries, you may better understand your requirements and inspire others to respect them. You'll feel more self-assured and understand that having boundaries isn't being selfish. You suddenly have the self-assurance to say no to requests that don't serve you.
MA